This is Real News Media TV, coverage you can trust. Please like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Select all for daily news updates. Good evening, my Real News Media TV family. Welcome back to the channel for another news update for February 5, 2023. And in the news this evening, man shot dead in Old Harbor. The Old Harbor Police in St. Catherine have launched a search for a gunman who shot and killed an unidentified man along West Street yesterday. Reports are that at about 5:15 p.m., the victim was walking along the roadway in the vicinity of Coluga Cafe when he was approached by a man who brandished a handgun and shot him repeatedly. The injured man was taken to the Spanish Town Hospital, where he succumbed to the injuries. Cop allegedly shoots a motorist after altercation over fender bender on Mountain View. There was a non-fatal police-involved shooting on Mountain View Avenue in St. Andrew after a cop intervened in an altercation between a taxi driver and a motorist on Sunday. The fight between the taxi driver and the other motorist reportedly began about 10:30 a.m. after a minor fender bender at the corner of Mountain View Avenue and Windward Road. The policeman reportedly identified himself, but one of the combatants attacked him. He then allegedly shot his attacker. The Corporate Communication Unit confirmed the incident. Horror of seeing a mother lying dead on the ground. It was just a walk away. Raldine Burke left his mother at a bar in Time and Patience District near the town of Linstead, St. Catherine, to buy soup with his 4-year-old son. While he stood waiting to be served, he heard explosions that echoed above the blaring music from sound systems. He then glanced over to where his mother was sitting and saw people running. He began to make his way back when someone told him that his mother, 52-year-old Siobhan Sharon Golden, had been shot. August Burke started running back to the bar. As he ran, he felt his son fall from his hands. He picked up the boy and continued. When he got back to the bar, they both saw Golden on the ground. It was traumatic. We saw my mother on the floor. Even now, when I am watching movies and I see certain things, it affects me. The baby saw it too, and he has been traumatized by it. And I have to try and find an easier way to explain it to him every minute. Burke told the news last Wednesday. My mom went and bought soup, and the baby saw her drinking it and wanted some. So mommy told me to go and get it for him. So we went to get it. It was walking distance. We heard shots, but I wasn't thinking it was shots because the music was loud, Burke continued. Reports are that on February 11, 2022, 2 men rode up on a bike and one walked past the Golden and entered an establishment to purchase a cigar. On his way out about 6 p.m., he bumped into her, and when she addressed him, he pulled out a gun and shot her in the head twice. He ran back to the bike and the driver sped off. But that wasn't the first time the men visited that day. It is said that the triggerman and the motorcycle rider visited the bar earlier in the day. At that time, Golden, a mother of 3, was at another location and her bartender was on duty. The men eventually left. Burke, who has been left bereft of his best friend, fled the community out of fear. It hasn't been easy. We were very close. I have been around her all my life. It isn't easy. The feeling I have most of the times has been paranoia, disappointment, and hurt, because it was a murder and it wasn't solved. I moved from the area a few days after it happened. I have been depressed, but thankfully, I am around people who try to support me and uplift my spirit, he told the news. His younger sister had emigrated and wasn't able to attend their mother's funeral. Burke said that has been one of the hardest parts of the last year. She's the smallest one. I feel for her because she's the baby among us. Seeing my sister breaking down every minute up until this point and going through it still hurts, but I have to keep strong for my son. Hyacinth Bowen, Golden's older sister, lives in another parish. She told the news that she remembers the call that left her down in the dumps. My nephew called me a minute or so after 6 o'clock. I was on my veranda sitting down and my phone was inside charging. I heard when the phone rang and I heard when my daughter answered it. She know it is her cousin, so she laughed and said, "Where you call my mother for?" And then I heard her coming with the phone and crying, she recalled. Bowen said when her daughter handed her the phone, the only words that she heard were, "Them shoot mommy." "What you say?" Bowen asked sharply. "Them shoot mommy," her nephew repeated regretfully. At that point, she hurriedly told him to hang up and to call the cousin, who works at the Linstead Hospital, to inquire. She told me to hang up, and before I could move the phone from my ears, she called back and said she's dead, she told the news. Bowen was found later that night along the main road in her community after she left home without her children knowing. She said she was trying to get a ride to Linstead to see her sister. Her daughters had to use force of control and to take her back home. For the entire week I was out of my mind. My children had to keep me inside the house, and I was mashing up the house and things like that. It was a big shock. Oh my God, she was my ride or die. She was my everything. I'm the eldest of 7 children, and she's the second to last child. We had a relationship that I can't even explain. If my head hurt me, she's the first person I would call and tell. We talk about any and everything. If I put up something on Facebook, she would call me and ask me who trouble me. She would say, don't pay nobody no mind because them no know say your head no good. That type of relationship. Bowen added that during the same week her sister was killed, she and her children were actively planning to visit her in Linstead the following week and to spend the weekend. She's a very good cook when it comes to salt mackerel rundown, so the plan was to go to Linstead and have a cookout with her, so you know that it shaped me. It rocked me. It mashed up my brain. It mashed me up bad, she said. The funeral, she told the news, was a difficult period. However, the thundering support made it somewhat more manageable for her. That funeral was like Bob Marley's funeral. I was out of my mind, but I was in my mind to see it. I could see the support. It was well supported. She was also a party promoter and stuff like that. So you know she would go to round robins, so a lot of people knew her. Persons caught shipping guns should be treated like terrorists, says McKay. Criminologist Dr. Jason McKay says persons caught shipping guns to Jamaica should be treated like terrorists as they pose a serious threat to national security. He was responding to last Friday's seizure of 59 firearms, including high-powered rifles, at the port in Montego Bay. Dr. McKay says that the issue should not be treated lightly. He says the rules under the Bail Act that apply to regular citizens should not be applied to criminals that traffic firearms and to form gangs. Dr. McKay believes that dispatching members of the Jamaica Defense Force to the wharf in Montego Bay could serve to deter those thinking of sending guns to Jamaica. The news yesterday reported that soldiers are to be dispatched to the area as of tomorrow due to the huge numbers of guns and ammunition recovered since the start of the year. Dr. McKay says the security apparatus of the wharf, which led to the seizure of more than 80 illegal guns within a week, is commendable. He says additional steps should be considered to help deter the guns being sent to Jamaica. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Select all for daily news updates.